What is up, people? This is your friend, the Canadian Casual, and I'm recording my reaction to UFC 306, Riyadh season, Noche UFC, O'Malley versus Dvalishvili. Yep, 306 just finished, and I figured I would record my thoughts and opinions on the card. Overall, I think this was a really good pay per view. Um, the fight sandwiched between the early prelims fight and the co-main and main event in particular were quite good in my opinion. But overall, I think it was a very good set of fights, especially considering all of the critiques of the event building up to this card, I suppose. People were talking about how there weren't enough fights, how it was pretty top heavy, how the main card had quite a bit of unranked fighters, I suppose. But listen, man, let's give some credit to the fighters. I think almost everybody came to fight, came to show out, and many of them certainly did. I just want to give my thoughts on the event itself firstly before we go through the fights here. I gotta say, watching it on TV, it was pretty interesting. The backdrops they were putting on the screen, the way they were showing the walkouts and showing the fight live on the screen, and sort of two little boxes for everybody there in the crowd, two separate little boxes, I should say. And the movies between the fights on the main card in particular were pretty interesting. I think it was fairly well done, given the circumstances and everything. That being said, I mean, for a $20 million event, maybe I'm not sure what exactly we were expecting, but they were pretty cool, man. I got to say they were pretty cool. I did enjoy them. For the spectacle that it was, I think it was pretty interesting. And I got to say, the way they put out the seats and everything, I think they made it work. The camera looked pretty good. The camera angles they were showing with the crowd, it still looked like a standard kind of pay per view, right? I was worried the screen would be a little bit too, I'm not sure what the word is, intimidating, a little bit too in the way, a little bit too flashy for the fighters, maybe distracting to the fighters, but thankfully it wasn't. So that was good to see. I will say, watching the early prelims, particularly Raul Roses Jr. in the first fight, and some of those other prelim fights at the beginning, it almost felt like an Apex type event, just with the lack of seats and lack of people in the crowd. Because of course, the Sphere itself, I don't think it holds as many people as most stadiums that the UFC attends. So that, and of course for prelims, the stands typically aren't full anyways, right? So I think that was a pretty big factor in why it was so quiet early on. But listen, man, most of the fights on the prelims were bangers. So again, I think the credit goes to the fighters here. A lot of these Mexican fighters and all the fighters in general who were selected for this event, I think understood the opportunity they were given with this supposedly, once in a lifetime event, and I think they gave their everything, which was really fun to see. So let's get into these fights here. Starting off with the last fight, the main event, O'Malley versus Dvalishvili versus Merab. Merab won. He did everything that I honestly thought he wasn't going to do. I personally picked O'Malley to win. I thought Sean O'Malley was going to knock him out probably by round 2, round 3, in a similar fashion to the way he dispatched of Aljamain Sterling. But man, Merab, he got the job done, man. He kept the pressure on O'Malley, kept O'Malley guessing, kept O'Malley timid, especially after round 1, with the takedowns, the threat of the takedown, the control time that he was able to, put on Sean. I think he was definitely able to gas Sean out. By the end of round 4, Sean, when he went back to his corner, he had his hands on the side of the cage. He looked quite tired, right? So I think Merab's pressure did really break Sean down throughout the rounds. Now that being said, O'Malley did end up causing more damage throughout many of the rounds. Like, by round four again, I think O'Malley had cut Merab on multiple points by that point, like in multiple places, I should say, like on the ear, on the eye, on the nose. Merab was like bleeding from a lot of different orifices at that point, but of course, Merab was definitely, suffocating O'Malley, landing far more shots than O'Malley, managing far more control time. And on my first viewing here, I honestly had it 4-0 to Merab going into round 5. No, I've already, before I started recording this video here, I was getting some thoughts from, some immediate kind of post-fight threads and some comments from others. And, there are people putting a good, argument for O'Malley that maybe O'Malley won round 3 and potentially even round 1 as well. I'm going to definitely watch back the fight. But upon my immediate viewing, I do think that Merab was comfortably winning the fight up until round 5. I think O'Malley definitely won round 5. And I think 49-46 is definitely a fair scorecard. 48-47 if you're being generous to Sean. But listen, man, Merab, he did everything that I thought he might not have been able to do, might not have been successful in doing. And credit to him. It honestly reminds me a lot of the recent Bilal Muhammad versus Leon Edwards performance. But the wrestler got it done, man. Wrestler got it done. And just the spectacle of the fight, man, it was pretty cool to see, man. Especially in my shoes, I think just expecting Sean to win. Watching the spectacle of Merab sort of, take him down, taunt him in every round, it was incredible, man. So, yeah, man, credit to Merab, man. He really is the machine. He lives up to the moniker of his name, I suppose. But yeah, man, moving on to the other fights here on the main card. Let's go to the co-main event. Alexa Grasso versus Valentina Shevchenko. Similar to the main event, maybe not the most exciting fight on the card, but again, I honestly enjoyed it just for the spectacle of what it was. I think most people had Grasso as the favorite going into the fight. I think most people thought that Grasso had Shevchenko's card based on those the first couple of fights that they had. But credit to Shevchenko, man. She came with a great game plan and executed it to perfection, similar to Merab, and in a more effective and impressive manner than Merab, actually. Relatively speaking, I suppose. Yeah, she was able to take down Grasso almost at will every round. Just maintain control time. Get some good ground and pound in. There were a few scary moments here where Grasso got some interesting submissions, near submissions, like that guillotine choke in round 4. But ultimately, Shevchenko was able to grind it out. Credit to her. Clear 50-45 win. Man. It was cool to see. Cool to see her post-fight interview and everything, too. She definitely deserved it. And it's good to see her back on top. I think we'll see some... I think the women's flyweight division there is opening up pretty nicely now with Shevchenko back on top. I don't think we'll see a 4th fight between them. I think that might keep up the stall the division too much. But yeah, credit to Shevchenko, man. Good win. All right, and moving down the card, Ortega versus Lopez. Great win by Diego Lopez. Man, he rocked Ortega so bad in that first round, cut him open very badly. And yeah, just had a lot of success on the feet. Ortega had a few good moments here, but I think it was a clear 30-27 win for Lopez, of course, as I believe all the judges did as well. And he looked good, man. He looked good. The few, kind of takedown attempts I think Ortega attempted, Lopez was able to stuff pretty well, keep the fight on the feet where he was most comfortable. And yeah, man, he's a top 3 contender now. I think I'll have to see a number one. There's a bit of a logjam now forming at the top of the featherweight division, considering that Volkanovski is probably going to come back and demand a title shot. Well, his resume alone demands sort of an immediate rematch for the title, right? So I think it'd be awesome to see a number 1 contender fight between Lopez and the winner of Aljamain Sterling and Movsar Evloev next month. But yeah, man, credit to Lopez. He looked real good out there. Moving on, Daniel Zellhuber versus Esteban Ribovic. Man, what a fight. I think this was the fight of the night, man. I was just on the edge of my seat watching this fight. Um, Great kickboxing match, essentially, between the two. They both just went for, especially in round three, got a swing for the fences, right? Zellhuber ended up knocking down Ribovic. Uh, then what looked like a pretty blatant eye poke, if I must say, in my opinion at least. But, Ribovic took his time to recover, and he ended up stumbling Zellhuber, right? Just hitting him with an absolute fury. And Zellhuber, to the credit of his heart and toughness, he was able to kind of stick through it and um, persevere, not get knocked out. Although you couldn't have faulted the referee for um, putting an end to that fight. The way Ribovic was kind of hitting Zellhuber with so many unanswered shots in round three, but great fight, absolute fight of the night. Credit to both guys for just leaving it all out there, throwing bombs, just absolutely like gunning against each other, right? Beautiful fight, man. I can't wait to watch this one back. And wrapping up the main card here, Ronaldo Rodriguez versus Ode Osborne. I did miss a portion of this fight. I just got a little bit sidetracked, but a little busy with some family members. But yeah, from what I did see, seemed like a pretty contentious decision. And I can understand why. I did watch the first round, and I definitely thought Ode Osborne won. From the portion of the second round, I did see, Ronaldo Rodriguez looked pretty good. Round three looked pretty close to me as well. It seemed like there's people saying it could have went sort of either way. But I think my main gripe with the judges' scorecard in particular, two of the judges' scorecard was 29-27, which was a little bit surprising, which meant that Rodriguez was given a 10-8 for the second round, I believe, which is a bit of a stretch. And I mean, I think if that warranted a 10-8, then there's a good chance you could say Ode Osborne's in round one also warranted a 10-8, right? But listen, pretty close fight. Credit to both guys again for just going out there, giving it their all. Credit to Ode Osborne as well, man. I think not many people are giving him too much of a chance, especially after the pre-fight press conference. Ronaldo Rodriguez obviously made a spectacle of it and really promoted the fight. I think most people had him as the favorite anyways going into the fight, but yeah, no, Ode Osborne showed out, man. I think he made a great display of himself out there, right, tonight. So despite the loss, I think probably wasn't a total loss for the guy. But yeah, not too bad of a fight to open up this main card. All right, just wrapping up our review here with the prelims. Aldana versus Dumont. Yeah, huge credit to Dumont, man. She looked great on the feet. She was just picking Aldana apart for all three of those rounds. Of course, there was an accidental headbutt in the second round, which opened up a nasty cut on Aldana's forehead, man. That was just such a huge, huge gash, man. But yeah, credit to Aldana's toughness, man. She stuck in there. I think by round three, she was going for strong haymakers, trying to clip Dumont, but to no avail. Dumont looked really good on the feet, man, just picking her apart. So good win there in the women's bantamweight division. Manuel Torres versus Ignacio Bahamondes. Man, what a performance by Bahamondes, man. I picked him to win. I flagged him to win. I definitely thought he was going to win, and he ended up winning, man. That kick that he hit Torres with that rocked him bad early on in the fight, and then later on in that first round, he clipped Torres twice, dropped him twice before finishing the fight. Yeah, man, Torres was swinging for the fences right from the start, right? Like diving in pretty recklessly there, and Bahamondes was able to clip him, man. But yeah, great finish there. Yeah, Souza. Wow, that was a nasty finish as well. That 1-2 that she landed, jumping right into the rear naked choke, just an absolute devastating finish there, right? That was a really entertaining fight to watch as well. And the first fight on the prelims, yeah, Shirez versus Joshua Van, excuse me. Yeah, what a comeback performance by Joshua Van. Oh, interesting. They don't have the win symbol here on the UFC website here for this fight yet, which is kind of funny. But yeah, what a bounce back performance from Van, man. Shirez pieced him apart in that first round, it seemed like, right? And But second round, Van came back, hurt Shires bad with his body shots, very bad. Shires made a bit of a comeback in that second round too, but I think the second round was pretty clearly for Joshua Van. And in the third round too, I think Van edged that round. There were a few questionable decisions he made, including like jumping for that one heel hook near the end of that third round. But I think he did obviously edge that round, and it was a great performance. After that first round, I thought Shires was about to cruise to a victory, right? So absolute credit to Van for showing his grit, determination in that fight as well. Great fight. And just wrapping up, yeah, Raul Rosas Jr. obviously opened up the card. Good win, clear win. Not a crazy fight to start things off. It kind of seemed like, especially by round 3, he was just kind of maintaining control time enough to, edge out the decision. He obviously wasn't really gunning for a finish of any sort, right? I think he knew what he had to do to at least edge the decision, which he did. So it was a good fight. But yeah, man, honestly, yeah, guys, I think it was a great card. I know it was getting a lot of flack kind of in the build up to this month, almost, I'd say, build up to this fight week in particular. But great fights, man. Honestly, great fights. Of course, so yeah, the co-main and main didn't quite live up to the precedent set by all the other fights, but that's a testament to all of the other fights. Like there were a lot of great fights, great finishes on this card, man. So yeah, credit to the fighters, man. UFC 306, I think it was quite the success for the UFC. I'm gonna finish up this video and go watch the post-fight press conference from Dana White. It did end pretty late, I must say, though, right? But hey, yeah, there were some great fights to watch, so I'm not wasn't too concerned about that. But listen, guys, if you made it to the end of this video, firstly, I want to thank you, and please do like if you did enjoy the video. Please do consider subscribing. I'll be making more content related to the UFC pretty soon here. This has been your friend, the Canadian Casual. Until next time, God bless. Goodbye.